So I don't claim to be an expert on bleaching t-shirts, but I would like to share a few tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. I start by placing cardboard in between my t-shirts, in the sleeves and in the body. Then I grab my bottle of straight bleach. I then begin to just gently mist a circular section in the center of the shirt, or you can kind of line it up with what design you're going to be putting on the shirt. For instance, I put my designs about 2.5 inches below the collar line or neckline, so that's kind of where I start my bleaching. But anyways, I do not saturate the area. I just gently mist it and sort of shake off any extra bleach from the bottle onto the t-shirt, and that creates the splattered effect. I mentioned that I put the cardboard liner in there. This is to protect it from bleeding through, because I only like to bleach one side of the shirt. If it does happen to bleed through, drips and things like that, I will flip the shirt over and just splatter the back quickly. As you can see here, this process goes very quickly. These have only been bleached for a couple of minutes and they're already starting to turn. Right here I'm showing you that the difference in being in the shade right here and being in the sun. The sleeve of this one was actually in the shade, so I ended up moving it out into the sun completely because the dry time obviously changes. Okay, so all in all, these being out in the direct sunlight, they took about 10 to 15 minutes to reach the desired whiteness that I was looking for. The day before, I bleached green and red shirts indoors using a fan for the dry time. These took about 20 to 30 minutes. I happen to be adding the stink, stink, stunk Grinch quote to all of these shirts. I got my SVGs all cut ahead of time, and the weeding process is monotonous. I did learn a fun little trick by watching other people's YouTube videos, and that is the masking tape trick, where, as you can see here, I've wrapped masking tape around my fingers, and this is so helpful when it comes to these little tiny monotonous pieces. As you can see here, I'm just weeding them out and sticking them on the tape so they don't get lost in my design and ruin my project. I like to conserve as much of my HTV as possible. Just like I trimmed off that piece there, I can use that in other projects. I like to weed directly on my mat. I basically pull out all the big pieces and then move on to the little tiny pieces. And again, the tape on my fingers is such a lifesaver. I've also found that pressing down on the little dashes, for instance, in this picture, before lifting the larger piece of HTV off, helps keep it in place. So always double check your project. Snowflake, I missed a piece. I got it luckily before ripping it off the mat here. And then I set those aside and get going with my heat press. I really regret not purchasing a larger heat press. Okay, and so there you have it. Super cute, stink, stink, stunk shirts, hand bleached. You can do it, girls. Go for it. Again, I'm no expert, but I love to help whenever I can.